to today's Starseed Healing Circle. So today we are looking at the new month and we're diving in with our reading. So the reading is going to give us an idea as to how the month is going to unfold and what we can expect and what we need to look out for. And then in our next session we will do a healing on that. So for this session I'm going to give you the reading and then we'll give you some homework that you can do or ways that you can maintain what you need to do. As always, we are going to tune in. We're tuning in with the Mother Mary code today. So just find a moment to quiet the mind. Close your eyes perhaps. Take a few slow deep breaths in and out. Dropping into the heart. And just for a moment, think about what it is that you would like to focus on in today's work. Do you perhaps have any questions? Anything that you would like to look at? What is your focus for today's session? And when you're ready, open your eyes and allow it to gently rest on the code. You could just see where your eyes are being drawn to, or perhaps you want to trace it like a labyrinth for the eyes. That's what I normally do. I just trace with my eyes from one direction to another, and then I reverse the direction. While tracing, think about your goal, your focus, what you would like to know, perhaps what you would like to release. And you can spend as much time here as you need. This is your moment to tune into the work we're doing today so that you can receive the most from today's session. Okay, so let's have a look at what we have. I've already pulled the cards. We're working with the Book of Doors. For the ones who's been with me over the last few years, you know that the Book of Doors is one of my favorite decks. I've had this one since 1993 or 4, can't remember now. I think in 1994. So it's come a long way with me, and I connect quite well with this one. And I find that the message is usually quite straightforward. It's honest, it doesn't hold back, and it lets us know what we need to know. So this particular spread that we use, the pyramid spread, has different tiers or levels to it. So it starts on top with the spiritual aspect. Then we've got the second layer with 2 cards, which is the mental. Then you've got the 3 cards, which is your emotional. And the 4th card's at the bottom, that is your physical. And we basically read it from top down, and we're going to see how the cards interact with each other. And then to see what we need to look out for in this month, or what we can expect in this coming month. So let's dive in and have a look at the individual cards. So the first card that comes up is Auset. Auset is Isis. The image here is depicting her sitting in the reeds with Horus on her lap. This is when she was hiding from Seth and getting Horus all raised up. Auset is about magical knowledge and protection. When this card shows up, usually there is some inspiration, or it could be some creative expression. It could be very much associated with honoring of femininity or female power and creative power. Now this is the first card, so this is our guiding principle. This is what this reading is all about today. So we're in a really good space in this month where there's creation coming, but remember I said that Isis is hiding in the reeds from Seth. And if I just step back a little bit, our first card is Isis. And our last card for the reading is Seth. So I would say that in this month, we do need to be wary. This is, perhaps we're in a little bit of a quiet space where we need to hold back a little bit, where there could be a time of gestation. Let me just quickly see what else we have. Yeah, we're sort of coming out of that one. I'll chat about that in a moment. So there's definitely there's new developments here. We're moving into a new direction, but we are still lying low at the moment. So you may find that perhaps on the work front or on a creative level, perhaps things feel like they've been going a bit slow over the last few months or so. Let's see how all of this unfolds. The next level down is our mental space. So the mental space is how we think and how our thoughts are affecting us. The first card that we have, Unu-T 4-5. This is how we used to think in the past, and there's no limit as to what length, it's just past, and how that is still affecting us. The second card is our future guidance, so how we need to move ahead in the future. Unu-T 4-5 is the second last card of the Duat. Duat is the underworld. And so with the Duat, we've got these gates that we need to pass through. And this is our last and final gate. So you can see that you're on this sort of serpent boat on the river. And there's lots of serpents around. And then you're moving through that last gate. So when Unu-T 4-5 comes up, it could talk about a little bit of a dark night of a soul. It's that darkest hour before dawn. What could indicate illness or suffering, or it could mean or show that we've been through a cycle that's been quite low, but this is the lowest it's going to get. So the past is not looking very, very good here. It looks like we've all been in a little bit of a quiet space, in a little bit of a dark space. And this could be on the business front or on relationship front or whatever. Just take it back to your goal. What was it that you wanted to find out about today? What is your focus for today's session? How can you relate that focus to this particular message? There's positive message though, because as we come into the future guidance, we've got Khnemu. Khnemu is the creator god, so he creates man out of clay. And this is all about creative energies. It's about self-expression. It's about success in ventures. It is about executing or execution of plans. It really is like springing into action and making things happen. So when we look at the guiding principle with Auset, which is all quiet and calm and sort of hiding, we've got this dark night of the soul, quiet space. And now we're moving into Khnemu. This is where there's an opening up of things happening. So creativity is going to flow again. Perhaps work or action is going to spring into space as well. So this is a nice direction to go into. When we go into the emotional level, I may have to just hide my videos soon. It should be okay. We've got on the left side, we've got Akeru, and then we've got Ammit in the center, and then we've got Shai on the right. Akeru is how we have used our emotions or our energy in the past. Ammit is our bridge energy. This is where we are right now. This is sort of the central energy, so this ties in with our set that we've got on top. And then Shai is going to be your wishes and expectations. So with Akeru, this is about the journey. This is really finding a middle point. So with Akeru, you see there's two lines facing in both directions. One faces into the past, one faces into the future. And in the center, we've got the Sphinx, where we've got the sun, which is the now. So the quiet space that we had, the dark night of the soul, perhaps the whole theme that we had where things were going a bit slow, was there to pull us into our center, pull us into our now, pull us into a space where we could reassess or assess what we're all about, what we want to do, where we're going. And then we can take that energy once you know what it is, and you can take that further and you can move with that. It could also indicate past actions or memories or things from the past that that is perhaps affecting you, or that you need to release, or that you need to dig into, that you need to get to. So things from the unconscious, it needs to come through to the surface. So yeah, that's all in the Akeru bit. It really is about going with the flow and understanding that everything's got a time and a space as it goes, but sometimes things need to come to the surface so we can clear those. Speaking of coming to the surface, that then leads us into Ammit. Now, Ammit is quite a ferocious goddess. She has the backside of a hippo. She's got the leopard for body and a crocodile head, and she breathes fire. Her job is, well, her name really, or her duty really translates to the devourer of souls. So what happens in Egyptian mythology is when you die, your heart is weighed against the feather of Meh-Urt, the feather of truth. You'll see that on top there. And if your heart is heavier than the feather, then Ammit eats your soul and you are gone forever and ever. So you're lost. If your heart weighs up against the feather, then you can go to the afterworld. And that will then take you through to the Duat journey that we have just above that. So with Ammit here, this card sometimes could indicate that there's danger of sorts. But for me, what I'm seeing here is that, especially if we look at Akeru next to that, it's about really clearing away the stuff that we no longer need, stuff that no longer resonates with us, and things that are holding us in bondage. And I'm saying that because I'm looking into the next card, Shai, because we tend to read them together. So it could be that where you are currently, or where you're finding yourself currently, that you may feel that perhaps you need a little bit of courage working through what you need to work through, or it may feel like you're under attack of sorts, whether this is conscious or unconscious, subconscious, or it may just feel that things are blocking you. And again, I'm just looking back at the Unu-T 4-5 that we have, and then Khnemu with the creativity. So it may be that there's some creative block where you are currently. And then obviously Isis on top, Auset, which is hiding. So at the moment we're in a little bit of a, I don't want to say dark space, but the energy feels a little bit heavy and dense. Not quite where we want it to be. Next card up then from that, Shai. Shai is a positive card. This is all about the turning of luck. It shows that what we've been through, what we needed to go through, those things are changing. So if you're going through a bit of a bad spell, quiet spell, or whatever, those things are now shifting. We're releasing the shackles, we're releasing the bonds that's holding us back. So this is usually a very lucky card to come up, and it's a positive card. So this is all good. And it also indicates that we are in our destiny, we are moving along with our destiny. So everything is as it should be as well. Okay, let's go look at the next level. Next level, this is a physical level. So this takes it real into the sort of the real space. And we start with our past actions on the left, which then takes us through to our ideals and aspirations, the Meh-Urt, which then takes us through how we would implement our decisions, and then we take it to outcome. Now, the first card that we have here is the Neteneteru card, or Necher Necheru. And this card comes up when another card in the deck indicates a second time. So just for the ones who don't know, with this particular deck, we work with an 8-sided die. So I'm just trying to get it out of the bag. So I've got an 8-sided die, and we would throw the die, and then we'd throw it a second time, and that'll tell you what card to use. So we don't shuffle the deck, and we don't pick the cards straight from here. So it's also why this deck can be 30 years old and they still look very good, because I don't allow people to handle it. They handle the die. So what happened here was with Akeru, another card indicated, and the card that indicated is Unu-T 4-5. So Unu-T 4-5 is that Dark Night of the Soul. So let me just quickly refresh your memory. It's this one with the duat. Unu-T 4-5, the darkest area, or the darkest night, the dark before the light. So that card came up again over here in the past actions. So just for me shows again that Dark Night of the Soul, or the heaviness, we've had this for a little while, and then with Akeru just above that, which is about past and the future, that makes sense that it's sort of something that's been coming for a little while. So yes, we've had the Dark Night of Soul. That's all gone. That's our past actions. Where we come to into our ideals and aspirations, here we've got Meh-Urt. Meh-Urt is about new possibilities, new birth. This is about planting seeds, or letting our seeds sprout. It's new beginnings. And it usually could indicate that there's a new direction, and it could be something that you've never thought of before. So you may have some ideas, you may have some things that you are thinking of doing, and areas that you, or directions that you are thinking of moving, but things are going to most likely reveal themselves in a slightly different way to what you expected. So not really the way that you would have realized before or thought of before. Especially if we look at above that, we've got Akeru and Ammit. So Ammit is going to really cut away at anything that is no longer needed or necessary. And with those old ways of looking, seeing, and being and doing going out of the way, now there's going to be a way to perhaps perceive things in a different way and see things from next level down or up, or whatever the direction is that you're wanting to go to. How we're going to implement our decisions takes us through to Hehu. Hehu is one of the primordial gods, and with the primordial gods is for female and for male. So the male is the more active force, and so this is in our implementation of decisions. So this is about taking action over here. Hehu indicates that there's a new cycle beginning, a new time cycle, which ties in with all of the other cards that we've had with Ammit, with Akeru, with Unu-T 4-5, even with Auset and Shai. With all of the cards that we have, really, it shows that there's some new direction or new movement, a new cycle. And Hehu is saying that the time to act is now. So now when we look at the now, this is anything from where we are right now. We are getting into the space of action. And so if you feel that there's a bit of a push for an action, take that push, take that action, and move towards that. But our final card is still Seth, or Set. And Set is usually seen as a negative energy. It's sort of seen as the devil in Egyptian mythologies. But with Set, it's really, the Egyptians didn't necessarily see it as an evil force. They just saw it as an opposing force. So something that's going to push against, something that's going to be the yin to the yang, for example. Set, when the card comes up, could indicate or warn us that if something is not going to work for you, retreat. Instead of attacking, instead of trying to push against something that no longer works, step away from it. And I think that ties in with the other cards, and where it shows that there's new direction, a new cycle. So it's perhaps really important that you assess or analyze where you're at, what's working and what's no longer working. It may be that you're called to move into a specific direction and you may not know how to move into that direction. Just still move into that direction. Just as an example, with the Ormatech seals, I have been pushed into many directions along the way and I just flow with it. I'm receiving information as and when I do. So I'm trusting that it will all fall into place. But with whatever project that you're busy with, it's knowing when the project is done. Perhaps the project has reached its end. And I think this is also why we've got this whole change in the healing circle, where I needed to take a little bit of a few-month break to reassess the direction I'm going in. And so here, this is even reflecting here for myself and for us as a group, how there is a new cycle and things are moving in a new direction. In the olden ways of looking at Seth, he was seen as the friend of the Duat. He is the guide. He's the one taking us through the dark night. He's the one showing us the way to move through. So when we look from an archetypal perspective, the energy that we have here at the end that's warning us, pull away when something no longer works, is here as a friendly warning. The set could also indicate fixation. So fixation is when we fixate on something constantly. This could be positive or negative. Usually, even if it's a positive fixation, it could end up being negative because it's actually moving us into a locked space. So there's a warning here to watch out for fixation. And then, yeah, I'm just thinking because our next session will be our healing session, so we could actually bring those things in as well. Also understanding that if there's bad luck happening or things aren't working the way it should, trusting that that friction or tension or stress is needed so that it can push you or move you into the direction that you need to go. Okay, as sometimes your soul or your spirit will tell you this is where we need to go, but you don't listen. And so your soul and spirit starts nudging a little bit harder. If you still don't listen, it sometimes gives you a knock over the head. That's what's happening here. Instead of getting the knock over the head, just listen to the nudges and move with it. Trust that you're going to be taking, or that you're going to be going through into the right direction. The set energy could also be about the breakdown so that we can get to the breakthrough. So yes, we've got the Unu-T for 5, which is that darkest night of the soul. There's definitely some breakthrough, breakdown happening with Ammit. Strip away, cut away, take away the things that no longer serve. Focus on the things that work. I think the biggest lesson, or not lesson, but the biggest message in today's reading, if I look at all of the cards here, is about discernment. Discernment. So I then wanted to know, what can I give you guys as homework? How can you support yourself in this coming month? So I drew a card from the Soul Plan deck, and the card that came up is 9-9. And 9-9, I don't think you can get a better card for discernment than the 9-9. This is all about claiming your power. And as I'm saying claiming your power, I'm thinking back to our previous recording where I kept, for some reason, saying that you're not giving away your power, you are claiming your power. You're not giving away your power, you are claiming your power. So this little theme is running through our month as well. I'm reading into all of that. So this particular energy is about claiming your power. So we don't want to get into guru style type treatments or therapies or approaches. You want to find a way to claim your own power. So I will bring this energy through into our healing and also into our coaching session for the ones who's coming for the coaching session, and also into the attunement sections. It's really about claiming our powers here. it's also about connecting to your spiritual energy, so finding your spiritual source. And you're here in the circle, so I don't think I need to talk too much about that. 9-9 could be about service. So again, very, very fine line between service and servitude. So find a way that you can be of service, but without being used or abused, if that makes sense. And perhaps you want to just develop your meditation skills a little bit. If you do not have a regular meditation practice, get a meditation practice going. Things like Qigong, yoga, Tai Chi, those are all good things to implement if you are not doing any of those things. And then work on assertiveness, discernment, and really feeling into whatever comes through. So in our notes, I will also give you a list of crystals that you could work with if you want to work with crystals as a form to supplement or just to boost your energy. But I think that concludes our session for today. This is our reading. This is our guidance for this coming month. And perhaps you may want to listen to this a few times, but I think, again, in summary, big thing here is discernment. I also see that we are in a little space of inertia and we are moving out of that. We are moving to a space where luck is changing. So things are on the up. Start taking action where you need to take action, where you feel guided. If something doesn't feel right, don't go there. Don't force it. Even if it has worked for you in the past, you may just feel, it doesn't quite work for me anymore. Listen to that and go with it. So really want to release old patterns and behaviors that no longer serve, so that we can step into a new way of being and doing. New way of being and doing is not always comfortable. There's going to be some tension, stress, friction, pressure that's going to feel uncomfortable. Just move with it and allow yourself to go with that as well. We will get through this. So yes, that's it. I think that's it for today, and then I will see you in our next session next week, and then we'll do some healing around that. Sending you lots of love and light. Take care.